Good day YouTube. Today I'll be touching on vampirism and how viable it is in the current state of PvP in the Elder Scrolls Online. The TLDR of it is that it's a recommend from me. I find that the survivability that it offers outweighs some of the drawbacks that this skill line creates. Do not assume that you will immediately become a John Wick-like persona and be able to butcher everybody in Imperial City or Cyrodiil, right? But there are some situations where being a vampire can be quite useful, and I'll attempt to walk you through the process which I became a vampire, and then subsequently touch on some of the passives that are useful. And the final part of the video, I've compiled some gameplay footages of my PvP battles in Imperial City, and I hope you enjoyed it. Now there's a great deal of content out there already informing you how to become a vampire, so I'll be quite quick with this particular walkthrough. For me, I went to one of the busier places in ESO, Craiglon, and I typed in the zone chat looking for a vampire bite. You can do so in any of the busy cities in the game itself, right? So like Vivek will also be okay. It took me about 6 minutes for a kind soul to offer his assistance. And subsequently, I teamed up with him and I met him in one of the 3 places, either Bankarai, Reaper's March, or the Rith. All these 3 maps have Vampire Shrine located within the map itself, as indicated in the diagrams that I've put up here. After the bite, then basically it starts the Vampire questline, which you go through a portal, and there's this rubbish quest which you have to do that takes about like 5 to 6 minutes, and once you are done, okay, you hop out. And the vampire skill line is now available over here. Take a look over here at skills underworld. You see a new vampire skill line be made available to you. Look at the 2 passives that we might be interested in. One is strike from the shadows over here. So while you are a vampire, once you leave sneak, invisibility or misform, your spell and weapon damage increase by 300 for 6 seconds. It's not say a lot, it's no burning spell with, it's no clever alchemist, but it's good to have. Alright, but the more important passive that we really want is this Undeath. So at stage 3 or higher, the damage taken can be reduced by up to 30% based on your missing health. From what I understand is if your health dropped to below 30%, you start to take damage mitigation up to 30%. So 1/3 of the damage being dealt on you is being mitigated away, and this is huge. This is essentially the reason why I'm pursuing this particular skill line. Now if you are running out of skill points, which happens to a lot of us, basically I would just put 1 skill point into this basic spammable skill. I'll use that to replace my crystal shards, and then subsequently I would then start to farm in Spellscar. You can choose any area that you like. Now you just need to farm the ads until you're vampire level 9, and then you have full access to both passives. As for the simple question on how to reach vampire stage 3, essentially you have the option to start feeding on victims once you have the vampire skill line. So to reach stage 3, feed on 3 victims, not more, not less. Each stage will last for about 4 hours, so every time you retrograde back to stage 2, after 4 hours, you have to feed on a new victim to get your stage 3 again for another 4 hours. So very quickly, I think we can start to observe some advantages and disadvantages of having a vampire skill line. Let's talk about the negatives first. Your resource recovery will be totally destroyed. So you have to look into maybe some champions points and some potions to try to get your stamina recovery back, because that's essential. And also of course you'll be more vulnerable to flame. So when you fight a Dragon Knight, you have to be extra careful. But fighting a Dragon Knight has always been a bit of a hassle, so I don't really quite see a difference. It's always a pain in the ass when you face them, either way. But what you gain is the survivability and the damage mitigation. In many scenarios where as you are dueling somebody and it's a race to the bottom, having a vampire passive that mitigates damage of 30% would make sure that you outlive your opponent if your opponent isn't a vampire. Make use of the sneak passive. So in some of the gameplay footages here, I would even dismount just to hide for at least 1 second, and then after that break out of sneak to gain that 300 extra spell damage. So couple that with my burst from my curse and my Dawnbreaker, I can get a considerable amount of damage at one go. Like sneaking around flags is usually not my thing because people at flags tend to be on their guard and they know that you're coming. It's hard to ambush them. In this case, I'm just trying my luck because the old saying goes, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And I think this guy maybe a little bit AFK or caught unaware, so it was an easy kill for me. Okay, I think that just about sums up everything that I have for today's video. I'm just going to leave you with some more additional footages of gameplay where it's mostly me sneaking and ambushing people in Imperial City. Have a good day everybody, thank you.